Hello and welcome to my Avengers Endgame breakdown video. Today we're going to be talking about the Avengers and what's going to happen in Endgame and what's happened in Infinity War. Be aware there's also Captain Marvel spoilers as we go forward, so I'm just warning you on that just for right now. So alright, so let's jump right into this trailer. We'll start it right out right here.
God, seems like 1,000 years ago. I fought my way out of that cave, became Iron Man. Realized I loved you. I know I said no more surprises, but I was really hoping to pull off one last one.
Alright, so in this shot, it's showing Iron Man in the first Iron Man when he had crash landed in his built suit of armor, the first one ever built. There's no saturation in shots of past movies because of the fact that it's just showing the Avengers in where they were, and that there's highlighted red because of blood. In the last movie, Black Panther said that Thanos would only have dust and blood. So I mean, he obviously got what he was asking for right there with everybody dusting away. I have a shirt right here and it says,
I don't feel so good.
Passing in the dust. But besides that point, we see Iron Man in the Benatar, and he is talking to Pepper Potts, I would presume, through the helmet, sending a message, kind of like he did in Iron Man 3. It's adding more onto the dialogue of the first trailer that we saw, where he was just talking to the helmet. We only saw little bits of it. And one of the lines he's referring to, that part in Infinity War there where he was talking and he said that there would be no more surprises. So he's saying that he hopes to pull off one more to get off of the Benatar and arrive back at Earth after this snap. I could imagine that he's devastated, and I'm wondering that if he uses any of his arc reactor technology to power the Benatar.
The world has changed. None of us can go back.
This next shot is showing Captain America in the first Avenger, of course, doing the same exact thing and highlighting all the red. And this voiceover is actually Peggy from the first Avenger, but this is the actual Winter Soldier version of her, where she's really old and she's about to die, and she's voicing over and is talking about going back to the past and fixing what's going on. She doesn't obviously say that, but it's just kind of implementing time travel into that little mix of it.
All we can do is our best. And sometimes the best that we can do is to start over.
I saw all these people die. I keep telling everybody they should move on.
This next scene shows Captain America in kind of distress, and where he's talking to other veterans, I believe, just like how Falcon used to do that back in the Winter Soldier movie. But the next shot after that, it shows Hawkeye and his daughter, which could eventually become Kate Bishop. Her middle name or something might be Bishop or something like that. But I'm presuming after this shot, because it's not desaturized and there's not red outlined, that right after that high five, there's going to be a little bit of a snap and she's going to fade away, and he's going to look and see his family fading away in the darkness. And that's why we see in this next shot after that him in his Ronin outfit from the comics, and he's really sad, and I'm presuming that he's doing that because of his family.
But not us.
Even if there's a small chance, we owe this to everyone who's not in this room to try.
This next shot, we'll see Cap and Black Widow talking, and you'll notice that her hair is actually longer and red with the tips being blonde. We saw this in a little bit of a promo art and behind the scenes footage of her, so we kind of already knew that there was going to be a time jump, but this implements that there's going to be a time jump in this movie at some point. In this next shot, we see Ant-Man looking really confused at all of these people that have been gone and all this overgrown stuff going on. And I would presume that's him coming out of the quantum realm and just seeing everything that's around him. Like, it's crazy to him. In this next shot, we see them in a Quinjet going to Tokyo. I mean, there's certain speculation saying that it's New York, but there's a bridge in Tokyo that obviously shows that this is not New York and it's Tokyo. And it's probably Black Widow going to get Hawkeye, knowing where he is, and him becoming Ronin and going back to those old assassin ways that he used to go to before the events of his family being snapped out of existence. You'll also notice that the power's back on in this shot and not from the one in New York that we saw in the Super Bowl trailer where the power was completely out and everything was deserted, it looked like. So the power's back in, so that would probably also implement a time jump as well.
We will. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
In this next clip, we see Hawkeye running through a corridor, kind of the same exact type deal that we saw in the Super Bowl trailer where he was looking up and there was that red light, so there's some sort of explosion in there. The shot after this one is probably one of my favorites of the trailer. It's Rocket in his new outfit that is from the comics, and War Machine in a new outfit that is like big, and it could be the new Hulkbuster armor that they've had Lego toys out for, but it also could just be another armor that Tony Stark has made as well. In this next shot, we see Captain America sitting in what we would think probably outside Avengers HQ, just talking to whoever he's talking to. But the shot after this shows Hawkeye, and he looks pretty mad, pretty just sad and mad at the same time. And he's got that new haircut that he just probably just doesn't care, and it's like a 90s mullet. That's what it looks like. But anyways, he is just not having it. In this next shot, you'll also notice Ant-Man, and there's a little bit of glow in certain parts of this, and I think it's Captain Marvel showing off her powers and why she'd be an important use to this team. As we know from the Captain Marvel post-credit scene, she shows up fairly early into the Avengers Endgame movie with Cap still rocking that beard. Obviously, like, had a shower or something like that before that. But they turn around and she's right there just standing in there, and it's pretty rad. I think this shot is after the events of the snap, like right after when Thanos goes to another place and he is just not in the mood, and the clouds and all that is just like kind of forming behind him. And I think that he just like goes off somewhere, as we see in that other part of that trailer where he's walking through that corridor. Most people think that that is on Titan 2, but it's on Wakanda, as we see from the other things. Next, we see Nebula with her swords, and I think that this battle is on Titan 2, or the Garden as they refer to it. There's a leak. Disney shareholders saw some certain parts of Infinity War where Nebula comes out of the shadows when they had detected an energy signal, Rocket says, from where the snap occurred and then to another part of the galaxy where Thanos would have gone. And so Nebula comes in and tells them that Thanos is in the garden, and they would find out later where that is. The Disney shareholder also shared an extra piece of Rocket telling Cap and all these other people to not throw up on the ship because they're going to space. And then he asks who hasn't been to space before, and I think Rhodey and Cap raise their hand, and there's another person I can't remember off the top of my head who did, but they go off into space in that shot, and we might see that in a TV spot or something coming up to Avengers Endgame. Then we see Cap with his shield, and he's just getting ready for battle. I think this is in the same battle that Nebula's in. I think it's in the first rough 20 to 40 minutes of the movie, maybe. Just kind of right out the gate, because the Russo brothers came out and said that they were only going to show like the first 30-20 minutes of the film and trailers. And I mean, they've been known to lie before, like even with this trailer, where they're like, oh, the lines for the movies are just, they weren't in the Avengers Infinity War, but we obviously saw Doctor Strange say Endgame, and so they lied about that, but you know, it's okay. Then we see Ant-Man, and man, I've had so many theories about this, but I think the main one that I like the most, because I know that there was one where they're like, oh, well, that's just the wrecked Benatar, and that could be the case, but I think this is actually the Battle of New York that we saw in leaked set photos, and those pencils and those products are the buildings that have crashed down into the city center, and he's just going through all of these little divots and everything. Here it is, the best part of this trailer that made everybody go wild and like, what's going on? But we see the Avengers in their quantum realm suits. We know this because the pattern of it, I mean, is very, very similar to what Ant-Man was wearing. And you might ask, well, why is Ant-Man not in his just regular suit? And it's more of the fact that what they're doing could be a little bit more dangerous, and they might need a little bit more advanced, or to the fact that they need to be together and have sort of a unity type deal where they're all matching. But you also might be asking, where's Hulk in this, or where's Captain Marvel? And I'm sure that they're in the shot. They're just not really much cut into this trailer because of the fact that they like even moved around certain like Avengers where the shots were like not in order, and that's why it might look a little confusing in certain parts of it. But Hulk is in his purple / blackish certain kind of armor for this that'll flex down with him going into Bruce Banner, and the big Hulk. We'll also probably see Professor Hulk, where they kind of become one person and they're able to communicate with each other, and they kind of had their climax point together as a character duo where they're not two separate people. And what we'll see is they'll become one actually in this next movie, I would presume, at least. There is so much like certain variation of the shot where you have from the first one where there's like literally nobody in this shot where they're walking across. Then you have another one where it's like a few amount of people, and then you have this one where it's like all of them and they're all in the white suits, and we're like, what's going on? But this is going to be one crazy ride, folks, and I hope you are strapped in, because, man, this movie is going to blow the socks off of so many people. We might see some variations of certain things in the trailers that have been messed with. For all we know, they could have just shot all this before and then just put it in trailers, and we could just literally not even have seen anything with this movie. I doubt that's the case. People will get so mad at that. But this is going to be really interesting to see what they do, because they are masters at cutting these things together and making us think something differently than actually is. Next, we have this just epic title. I love the score that they use for this, like just kind of remixing it a little bit, but it just gives you so much oomph and power and pride in what one they've created.
I like this one.
This next shot, we see Captain Marvel and Thor have like a confrontation type deal, and Thor summons Stormbreaker past his face, similar to when Loki disguised himself as Odin and he held his hand out in front of him with the head of Odin in it, and he tested him. But anyways, Captain Marvel just doesn't flinch. She does not care. And they smile at each other, and Thor's like, I like this one. I thought that they were going to have like a butting heads thing. But I think it's cool that they're gonna work together, because with just them, they just are unstoppable, and Thanos is gonna have what's coming to him in this movie. Anyways, if you're new around here, don't forget to subscribe down below. And if you have any questions about any of this stuff, you can comment them in the comment section and I will do my best to answer them. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day or night or whenever you're watching this. And I'll see you next time. Peace out.
We're in the end game now.